Greetings friends, it's Zera, back with another video. Man, you know what? I just felt like doing a cigar cast. Fixing to take off on a plane and go traveling. I want to get some things off my chest. Before we get to that, let's roll that intro. What's up, guys? Oh man, it's been a long time since I've done one of these for YouTube. Usually I just fire one of these puppies up for a stream, but let's get into this, alright? Man, I'm telling you, one of these things is so nice sometimes. So nice sometimes. We just did MC tonight. You know, I don't even know, right? Like, I don't know where the guild's gonna be when I get back. 3 weeks is a long time. You guys won't miss a beat. You'll be getting these videos every week, but it's a different animal. I like being able to do these videos in advance. It was actually, I got into a really nice groove, you know, writing the scripts and everything. By the way, this is completely unscripted, so you get a lot of ums and uhs and... No, I doubt it. I doubt it very seriously. When I actually get a chance to think about what I want to say, I don't feel like there's dead air, or I'm not worried about there being dead air. I mean, this is the raw, this is the real me, you know? So the wife is 4 months plus pregnant. We're on our way to West Africa for 3 weeks. We get back. We're making preparations to move. We don't know where we're moving yet. It's going to be somewhere in West Texas or South Arkansas. We're not entirely sure where it's going to be just yet. But based on what I know now, I mean, we're making the decision. We're finalizing the decision in the next 24 hours before we get on this plane. So, me personally, I'm leaning towards West Texas. We've already been there twice. We've looked at some houses. We actually found a couple we liked. One we really, we basically all but fell in love with. You guys will too, hopefully, if I have my way about it. Plus, my wife just gets more time off from work with this job in West Texas. She gets way more time off. So, and being a new mother and a new father and a new, basically a new family, we've got a lot on our plate. So the extra time off for her is only going to help. So I'm looking at some things for some of my New Year's resolutions, because you got to stay on top of those things. The one that's kind of, on my heart right now is the whole, going to a convention. I think I've got my convention of choice. Obviously, CES has, been going on this week, and I've been missing on that. But that's probably my all-time, having not been to any of these conventions before, if I were to pick one, golden ticket, wish I could go no matter what, that would have been it. But we just have too much going on right now, and money was tight there for a minute, so we were just kind of, focusing on us and taking care of us and getting things taken care of before the baby got here. And of course now we're going to West Africa, so we just didn't have the time. But if I had to pick, and I'm gonna put a straw poll up in the up on this corner. Let me guys know what you guys think. And I apologize for that, because sometimes I can't remember which corner it is, if it's left, it's right, or whatever. I have no idea. I gotta keep remembering that you always point over, you point over your right shoulder, right? So if I'm facing here, it's not up here, it's gonna be over here. Yeah. YouTube things you gotta try and keep in mind, right? But I'll put a straw poll up there. But I'll tell you the one that I'm really leaning towards is LTX. Linus Tech Tips has been a part of my life almost as long as I was in the Navy. Like, honest to God. There was only 2 YouTube channels that I watched back then. There was only 2. And Swifty was one of them. And it was mainly just the gaming house stuff. Like, I didn't really care for his WoW content. Don't get me wrong, he's a great WoW player. He's very skilled, but it wasn't his PvP montages. I had other people for that. I had Thyraz and Kobrak and others to really get my hook on that. But you know, for me it was just his gaming house videos that really kept me going, gave me something to look forward to, made me miss my own setup at home. Because back then you didn't have all these, like, you know, YouTube channels talking about gaming setups and stuff. You didn't have those. If I had those back then, probably would be a different story. But and then there was Linus Tech Tips, which, I mean, I guess back in, you know, 2010 when I joined the Navy, or excuse me, 2009, 2010, that area, that region of the timeline, it was a different animal. YouTube was completely different back then. And Linus Tech Tips has gone over some serious changes too, but now I've always been in love with that channel. I've always cherished the videos they put out. There's probably, honestly, if you look at my YouTube history on both my channels, I've got my, you know, obviously my Zera channel, and then I've got my personal channel, my personal, you know, like real life channel, and I probably have watched more Linus Tech Tips videos than I have any other channel combined on any one of those platforms. So it's really unique. I mean, I was a subscriber on Float Plane for the longest, but again, you know, when you get married, you got to shore up some money in a lot of places, so I couldn't stay subscribed to that. But I love the WAN show. I check it out every week. I've even filled out a couple of applications to work there, but you know, up until recently, I've been kind of occupied with military work and everything else. But as it stands right now, I could relocate to Canada. And, you know, my wife has even mentioned numerous times, she's like, hey, if you got picked up, that'd be awesome. So, but I mean, you're talking a 1 in a million opportunity. But the long short of it is that LTX would be the convention that I would want to go to, which completely contradicts the reason why I would want to go in the first place, at least on the surface. Because again, I've never been to any of these conventions. Especially I've never been to LTX, obviously, so I don't know anybody that's been to LTX, so I can't speak from any level of certainty that it wouldn't play out in my favor. But if I went to LTX, for me, I would be there as a fan. I wouldn't be there as a content creator. I'd be there as a fan. Now, don't get me wrong, if an opportunity presented itself, then I would jump on it, but I'm primarily there as a fan. Is what I would be there for, and that completely contradicts what I believe is the reason why I need to get in these conventions, is because I need to get my name out there. I need to network. I need to create, you know, relationship with sponsorship opportunities and everything else. I don't want to waste that opportunity. But hell, who knows? Like, if this thing in West Texas works out, and we're able, and money gets a little less tight, and we're able to actually go to one of these conventions as a family, then we could go to LTX as a family, and then I could pick another convention to travel to as a content creator. So that's something that's weighing on my heart. I've got a checklist. I swear to you, I've got a checklist a mile long, and I'm just going through it day by day, just figuring everything out. I've got this. My wife got me this checklist, right? She got me this day planner, and it goes through the entire year of 2020, and it's really intense. And every week I go through it and I jot everything down, and like day by day I get up, and before I do a thing, I check the book. I'm like, okay, what's on the agenda for today? Can I shift this around? What do I need to do? Because, you know, I've had something come up, doctor's appointment, something's come up. So my primary concern moving forward, once I get back from this trip, is to just stay on top of my videos. finish my videos, a month in advance, kind of like this. But the truth be told, we had a lot of craziness. We just got done with the holidays, and then there's 3 weeks for this trip, and there was a ton of stuff we had to do for this trip. So it's been a nightmare trying to get these videos done. But I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong; it was just hellacious. A lot of nights I didn't sleep at all. There were nights where I was up all night. My wife had gone to bed, slept all night, gotten up and gone to work in the morning, and I'd just not be crawling into bed. She'd be upset, visibly upset that I wasn't in bed with her at all during the night, because she likes to snuggle and do all that first year marriage stuff. Totally get it. I want to be there too. But the problem is that in order to be an adult, you have to adult, and a responsible adult has to get his work done. He or she has to get their work done. So hopefully we can both take a break from work and just spend some quality time together during this trip, and when we get back we can have a regular schedule. We won't have any big trip or the holidays looming over our shoulders. We can just focus on what we need to focus on and carry on with our day as normal, which will be nice because we haven't had a normal schedule in a long time, like probably since this time last year. It's crazy. But another thing that's kind of plaguing me, not plaguing me so much, is it's just like it's there, right? Like it's in the corner of the room. I know it's there. I just gotta get down. I gotta buckle down and get to it. SkillShare, man. SkillShare. I love SkillShare. I know you guys hear me, advertise it on my videos, but hey, man, I can't lie to you. SkillShare is something awesome. I've never been a part of a community like that where you can just go in and learn anything you wanted. You usually just pick a topic and you can basically just pick it off the shelf and learn it, and not just like layman level of learning like you could on just basically any YouTube channel in the world, but I'm talking like actually like expertly organized and expertly instructed classes, and you can go back and rewatch it and just do everything you needed to do. And there's no test or anything or quiz that's like looming over your head where you're like having to like time crunch, and no. There's none of that nonsense. You literally just learn at your own pace. You get everything you need. They give you all the tools. They give you all the advice. They give you all these spreadsheets and stuff, and you make it your own. And I love that. And I'm really looking forward to diving more into that. And I really want to get into it for things like, Adobe Illustrator. I want to get into it with Photoshop. I want to get into it with, I definitely want to get into it more with the Premiere. There's some things about Premiere I'm still not 100% familiar with and comfortable with, but it's something I'm really looking forward to, something I really want to get my hands on. I'm a big learner. If I've got the time of the day, God, I could sit in front of that computer all day and just work and work and work. The problem is that about the time I get done with work, I'm tired of staring at a computer screen. Does that make sense? Like, I'm tired of staring. I don't even get to play WoW hardly at all anymore because it's all work and research and everything else. And I get to play maybe one day a week, maybe twice a week, if I'm lucky. But one day a week, obviously, for raiding, and the second day is like just to farm up mats that I need for the raid day. So it's a different beast when you're a content creator, and that's why you have to make sure that the game you're making content over is one you actually genuinely love. Otherwise, it'll dry up real quick. But I need to make more time available for SkillShare, which I think is why, making my videos a month in advance, just putting in all that effort, boom, up front, getting it done and getting it knocked out is so critical, because I can spend that time. I can cut out, 2 days a week to just focus solely on SkillShare, and then the other, 2-3 days a week can either be spent on keyword SEO research for my videos, actually shooting my videos, editing my videos, and then, a week or two before they get uploaded, I can render them and upload them and then schedule them, and boom, they're all done. And then I've basically got a whole, week that I can do basically whatever I want. I can take a breather, I can relax, I can just play games, I do whatever I want to do. It's just got to find that groove. Like, do I want to be that person that cuts out like one day a week for me to play basically all day and just be lazy, do whatever I want? Or do I want to be that person that says, no, I'm going to divide up, 8-10 hours a day for these, 5-6 days a week, for this 1 week, this next week, this third week, and then have an entire week out of the month where I'm just free. I don't have anything going on. It just depends on what you want to do. Like you can do it, structurally either way, but you either cut out an entire day or two where you can just be completely lazy and don't do a thing, or you just do a little bit every single day. Like it's going to be up to you. Now, if you cut out an entire day or an entire week just for yourself and your family, you're going to have to really kill yourself the other 3 or 4 days or 3 or 4 weeks out of the month. So it's really just going to be, play it by ear and just find what works for me. Because I kind of feel like scheduling, especially with content creation, really depends on your personality. It really depends on your ability to stay focused on the task at hand. Some people can just flip a switch, go in and work until the job is done, flip that switch, come out, and they're fine. Just carry on with their regular day. I could do that in the military. So for me, that tells me that I'm capable of doing it. I just have to make sure all the puzzles fit in the right location, and then I can actually apply it to this equation. The military was a completely different animal. It was structural, it was disciplined, it was very by the book. I mean, you very, very rarely did you have a situation that you hadn't experienced in some form, fashion, sense, the other before. Now, that doesn't mean that things didn't go awry. Things went awry all the time, almost daily. But they were things that you've dealt with before. Once you'd been there for more than 6 months, 9 months, maybe even a year, nothing was going to take you by surprise. Somebody could walk up to you and say, hey man, this didn't work out. And I guarantee you, the first thing that came to your mind is like, oh yeah, I already know what this is going to be about. It's exactly what it was going to be about. So the Navy, hoorah, was just like that. Which reminds me, speaking of the Navy, boys, this is year 6. This will be year 6. November 2020. I'll be removed 6 years from the Navy. Active duty, anyway. That's weird, man. It is so weird. How could I be removed 6 years? This year will mark as many years as I spent in the service, post-service. I don't think it doesn't make me feel old. It just kind of puts things in perspective. I mean, hell, look at my life. Look where I've been. Look what I've accomplished. You're talking about, I went to college, graduated with honors, got an internship, got a full-time job with, a Fortune 300 company. And then, I met my wife, we got married, we're having our first child. We're moving to we both moved to a completely different state. And now we're moving again in the next 6 months to a year. I've basically, uprooted my entire life and started this YouTube channel and Twitch. Well, not started, but I'm just now starting to focus real time, put real effort into it. It's all about growth, right? You just grow, and it's different. It's something that something tangible. You gotta work for, and you gotta earn. It's not something that's just gonna land in your lap. I mean, yeah, there are overnight viral sensations. They exist. I'm not saying that I couldn't do that, but statistically, the odds are not in my favor, right? I mean, it's likely not going to happen that way. So it's going to take actual work. You're going to have to work at it. You're going to have to continuously work at it every day. But what else is there? Oh yeah, I speaking of gaming, I picked up my Giant Stalker helm tonight. That was nice. I don't need it. I mean, I do need it, but I have Dragon Stalker helm currently, and until I have all 8 pieces of Giant Stalker, Dragon Stalker is gonna, triumph at, 1v1, that slot versus slot comparison. It's not gonna. Giant Stalker is not gonna make an appearance until I get the other 3 pieces that I'm missing. But I'm only missing 3 now. I'm missing the gloves, the pants, and the boots. It's the only 3 that I'm missing. So hopefully I get those 3 soon, if not, immediately. Hopefully not too long after I get back. Speaking of getting back, phase 3, man, God, I'm not looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to phase 3 at all. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. What I mean is I'm not looking forward to the idea that it's going to get announced and people are going to be able to prep for it while I'm gone. By the time you watch this video, I've probably been gone for 2 or 3 weeks, and it's not going to be ideal for me to be gone and not be able to do anything about it. I mean, I'm just now getting to the point to where I'm starting to actually take my parses seriously. So, like, be looking for a video on that here pretty soon. But I have every intention of climbing the ladders, but I just didn't see the point in putting any real effort in EMC or ONI, because we had that thing on farm status basically from day one. And even still, there are things about it that kind of just plague and bottle the mind, you know? I love Classic, man. I love it so much. I went and got a 1.2 second attack speed wolf, leveled him all the way from 18 to 60. It was nuts. Broken tooth already. I've got a boar, you know, after I've got, you know, and then I've got a boar just chilling out there as my farming pet, but I don't anticipate I'll hold on to him much longer either, because, I mean, once ZG gets here, you know, within the next 6 months probably, I'll just turn around and get a, you know, son of a car and just use him. I mean, why not? Level 60, you know, Lightning Serpent or Cloud Serpent, what the hell they're called, and Wind Serpent, they're Wind Serpents, and use its lightning breath. I mean, you're not gonna do probably much better than that. I mean, by comparison, the cat may be the equivalent of it, but I think it's really going to depend on the fight, on the boss, on the encounters. Too bad you can't change pets like in the middle of a raid, right? Like you just, you know, summon a portable or a mobile pet trainer or stable or something and just exchange pets on a fight-by-fight basis. That'd be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? I'll tell you what else I love. I love technology too. God, I miss technology so much. I wish I still had a shop full of cabinets that I could work on, and servers and switches and routers and modems, just everything, dude. Absolutely everything. And I'm not talking like, you know, residential stuff. I'm talking like enterprise level switches and routers, primarily Cisco, but I mean, I wouldn't pass up any opportunity to work on any kind of equipment like that. It was so much fun. I remember one of my finals in college, I got the wrong study guide somehow, and I ended up studying the wrong information. But, you know, my instructor knew something was off, because he was like, dude, you're one of my straight A students. Like, what the hell? I was like, I don't know. I didn't recognize half those questions. He was like, oh man, I bet you got the wrong study guide, didn't you? I was like, yeah. Once we figured that out, he was like, well, I'll tell you what. You were literally like acing all my other coursework that I'm giving you. Like, it's not even like you finish all the labs, like, you know, 20 minutes after I give them to you, and while these other guys are struggling, you're going around and you're not leaving the classroom. You're walking around. You're making sure people need help. You help them. You connect the dots for them. You don't give them the answers. You help them learn it, and it's really inspirational to see one of my students do that. Of course, you know, I've been out of the Navy for, you know, 2 or 3 years at this point. I was already knocking on, you know, 27, 28 years of age. A lot of these other kids are fresh out of high school. You know, and if they're lucky, they're, you know, 19, 20 years old. But they don't have any real world experience. They don't have any real people skills that they've developed out in the real world, whereas I did in the military. With many different backgrounds, many different ethnicities, cultures, languages. Like, I was comfortable around people. It was really easy for me. And I loved that, which is what made me kind of feel like I needed to be, you know, a college professor. But, I mean, West Texas, unfortunately, doesn't really have a campus nearby, so where we're going to be in West Texas anyway. Probably not going to be an ideal situation anyway. But anyway, he offered to let me retake the test, so to speak, but a more practical exam, a hands-on exam, was what he wanted, because he realized that I was not a book learner so much as a hands-on guy, which is ironic because Skillshare, being an online community, allows me to do things hands-on while I'm taking the course. So maybe that's why I like it so much. I can do things hands-on while I'm following along, and I can also pause and rewind if I didn't recognize or understand or remember something. I can go back and rewatch that section. Whereas in a classroom, like, you get a one-stop shop. You either take good notes or you don't take good notes. And I was never really a great note taker. 9 times out of 10, I would record the lecture on audio, and then I would go back and replay it, and I would like, transcribe the entire lesson. It was ridiculous, and even then it, barely helped. I'll take that back. For like lecture-based courses, a lot like, your histories and, your histories, your philosophies, things like that, it was much easier for me to get the context. Of course, I'm a history buff anyway. But with technology, like with coding and whatnot, if you didn't understand the concept that they were trying to teach you for coding, whether it was, Java, or it was, God, what is the one? The Cobalt. Cobalt was the other one that was just so, antiquated, and yet so many banks, ATM machines, a whole lot of corporations and enterprises still use Cobalt, because much like the military, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So, that is what it is. It was a lot of fun to really apply that in college. But in this situation, he understood my learning curve, and he understood what I was best at. He was like, hey, look, I've got over like 50, 60 servers and routers in here, and switches in here. I need you to get to work. I need you to come in here. Once classes are officially released, I need you to come in here and reformat all of them, restore them all to their factory settings, and then, set them up so that we can reuse them again at the, fresh college, once we start a fresh semester. And I was like, absolutely. You got no problem. I will do that all day. And it took me about, I don't know, it was a one-man job. It was a multi-person job, and I did it by myself. So it basically took me like a full 12-hour day. I came in like 5 a.m. and I didn't leave till 5 p.m. And I think my girlfriend at the time, actually brought me lunch and dinner. I grabbed like McDonald's or something on the way to the campus that morning. So that was one of my greatest times on campus. And then there was my capstone project, which was my all-time favorite time on campus. But we basically built a we actually did build. Well, before I get to that, what they wanted, capstone, they basically say, here's a project that the campus, the university, wants to eventually get around to doing. Well, you're going to pick one as a capstone project, and if it gets past the board, and they actually approve it as a concept, then we'll carry that concept over and actually implement your system. Give or take some tweaks that they can actually pay actual professionals to do. And what they wanted us to do is they wanted us to create a grant, kind of a grant network for the professors, not just for IT, but for the entire, university campus. It was like a massive project. All the faculty members should be supposed to be able to go on, create their own profiles, kind of like a LinkedIn, but it would allow them to reach out to other universities and other faculty directly and say, hey, here's the things that I've got a history of grant, exception. Here's things that I'm trying to get grants for. Here's my, pitches to meetings and whatnot, all my research and everything. And it was basically supposed to just be a one-stop shop for other people from other faculty members from other universities to stop in and say, hey, I think I want to collab with this person on that exact topic. Let me get in touch with it. And that's what it was supposed to do. Very lucrative. Very, very, very advanced. But what we decided was, so basically we were building our own social networking site. That's basically what it was. But thankfully I was able to do a little bit of coercing with the university and say, hey, look, if we're going to do this all from scratch, it's going to take a lot more time than what we've got. What we can do is we can take what the university already has in its Microsoft subscriptions and get you guys a dedicated, like, SharePoint site through Microsoft. And I remember hating SharePoint for the first month, but then I eventually fell in love with it because it had all of the back end stuff that we were going to need, and even on the front end, just as well. So really, all we had to do was work on the middle stuff. Like, you had your point A and you had your point C. We just had to make sure that everything between A and C dots flowed well. It's really all we had to do. And I know it sounds simple enough, but believe me, when you're actually implementing something like that from scratch and nobody on campus was an expert, we had to basically learn everything about SharePoint we could ourselves. So I was the team leader, and I remember coming in every morning at 4 a.m. for literally 6 days a week. I'd come in at 4 a.m. and I wouldn't leave till 7, 8 o'clock at night. I absolutely was in love with this project. And what's funny is that ours was the only concept that was picked up after the semester was over. The actual president of the university came, sat down with several of the board members, because this was the same professor, by the way, who had me, do all the server maintenance and all the switch maintenance and whatnot. He was the same person that was my capstone professor. So he had every bit of faith in me. And I was like, I'm not even a web designer, but we learned the basics of web design. We learned enough to get us to be able to where if we read something on a piece of paper, or if we read something in a textbook, or we saw like something online through like from a professional standpoint of how to do this, we understood the basics enough to be able to grab what we wanted and start kind of cherry picking how we wanted to let things play out. And again, SharePoint took care of all of the security needs on the back end and the front end processing. All that was taken care of. We literally just needed to connect the dots, and it was very beautiful. And I loved it. And I told my wife all the time, like, outside of marrying her, and for that brief period on board ship where I was the most senior individual, I got to make all the calls and call the shots. People looked up to me for my leadership skills instead of getting crapped on by people in leadership positions that just didn't care about their people. They just wanted to make themselves look good and lie about how they got there. You take those two instances, out of the equation, and that last semester on campus with the capstone project, by far the best time of my life. It really was. I mean, as it is right now, it's definitely in my top three. Like, it's, meeting my wife, that, the whole courtship, getting married, and then, starting a family with her. And then number two is, that last year or two on board ship in Yokosuka, just how that whole, like, crapshoot storm that I went through those first 3 years on board to my last final 2 years on board paid off immensely. I mean, I was selected for CAP twice, back-to-back years, and I turned it down both times. Because I knew I was getting out, and I was like, look, you've got, BM3 over here, or you've got EN3 over here. Both of them just got married. Both of them have a family. Their wives are not really able to work very well because, the husband's away on board ship all day and for weeks and even months at a time. They need the money. So give it to them. Don't give it to me. And part of me does kind of regret that, but because when people ask me, hey, what did you end, when, what did you retire, or when did you discharge as? I'm like, I have to tell them I discharged as an E4. I have to. And it makes, and like immediately they immediately skip to, man, you were in the service for 6 years, active duty, and all you could get was E4? I'm like, yeah, that was it. Which is not true at all. If I wanted E5, I'd have had it in year 3. Just the tail end of year 3 going into E4 or year 4, I would have been in E5. And that would have been, pretty phenomenal, because that would have been only 1 year after that, I would have been eligible to take the test for E6, and I would have been on the fast track. If I'd gotten an EP once I hit E6, obviously pending if I'd passed the exam or gotten capped again, I would have been on the fast track to be chief between 8 and 10 years, which is pretty quick. Most people didn't make chief until, year 12 to 14 on average. So I felt good about where I was. I felt good about where I was when I left, and I still feel good about where I was. Because to me, it wasn't about the rank you had on your collar. It was about the level of respect and integrity you had as a work center supervisor, a leading petty officer, whatever field it was, whatever division you were leading, because we were in a small division. More often than not, I got tapped on the shoulder by Strike or by WEPS and said, hey, FC3, we need you to step up in a big way. We need you to be LPO of CM division for the next like 2 months, because GM1 or FC1, like, they're gone. Like, they're getting, they just made, they're now FCC, select, whatever. And I'm like, we need you to step up, because FC1, GM1, they're not going to be here. They're in a class. They had a family issue come up, and they're going to go back over the States. Like, we need you to step up. And the thing was, like, nobody said that to me. Nobody said, we need you to step up. What they said was, I had it, you got it. Because they knew that I had what it took to fulfill that role. I mean, for gosh sakes, I was probably the only Tomahawk technician to stand watch at a spy radar position. I tell other Tomahawk technicians from other ships that I bumped into over the years that I was there, and they're like, what the hell? You're not supposed to be standing watch. You're a Tomahawk tech. Tomahawk techs don't stand watch. If you do stand watch, you sit there and play Xbox all night while you watch a chat room. What the hell? I'm like, dude. Nope. I take a Sipper laptop down to combat, pop that sucker open, watching chat, and I am standing RSC. Like, what? You stand RSC? Yep. All day long, baby. Sometimes on a port and starboard watch. Sometimes we do 6 on, 6 off. Sometimes we do 8 on, 8 off. Hell, sometimes we freaking went 12 on, 12 off. It really just depended on the mood me and FC2 were in. It was like, screw it, let's go, let's do it. I don't know, man. There's a lot of things about the Navy I miss, and then there's a lot of things about the Navy I can't stand. I'm glad I'm out. Story of my life, though, is that if I hadn't met my wife when I did, and I graduated, I was gonna go back. I think I'm done with the cigar. Yeah, I think I'm done with it. Yeah, I was definitely heading back in the Navy. I would have gone back in as a Mustang. I would have gone back as an officer, prior enlisted officer. That's what I would have done. And I most likely would have aimed to be a line officer. But who knows, man? It's another story for another time. Listen, guys, I gotta go. It's been almost 40 minutes of chat with you guys, but you know what? I love it. I love doing these. But before I go, please indulge me as I remind you guys about SkillShare. SkillShare is an awesome online platform. I love these guys. Just love everything they do. The courses are very intensive. It's true. But you can go at your own pace, okay? You go at your own pace. They'll walk you through everything step by step. They even walk you through the software you're going to use. They show you exactly where you click, when to click, how to click, the whole 9 yards. I mean, it is quite literally the greatest thing since sliced bread, in my opinion. So be sure to check out the link down below for your first 2 months to be free access. It does help the channel out a lot. It helps me out a lot. It helps me pursue my dreams of being a full-time content creator. And it also gives you an opportunity to learn something new. And I consider that a win-win situation. Can't go wrong there. But with that, guys, I love you guys as always. Please do, if you do enjoy the content, not just the Cigar Cast, but other content that I do, be sure to subscribe. Like this video if you liked it. Hit the dislike button if you didn't like it. If you didn't, please let me know in the comment section what I could have done better. If I went on a ramble too long, or if there's actually a topic you want to know more about, please be sure to ask that question in the comment section. But again, guys, love you guys as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Zera out.